Hey guys, we are doing a video off the cuff. I run with Shelly sometimes on Saturday mornings, and we get into
When I
such
can convince him to.
when you can convince me to, and we get into such good um, conversations, which is kind of ironic considering what we're going to be talking about today.
Yeah.
We get into such good conversations that, like, I have a hard time, like, just keeping them to myself. Can you hold this for a second, babe? I'm gonna put my jacket back on. I have such a hard time keeping them to myself, and I feel like the stuff we're talking about is so important and can really be life changing, not only for us, but for other folks. That I get this urge, sometimes in the middle of a run, we're at the end of it now, to just sit down and start going live with the things that we're talking about and sharing, simply because I believe they hold a lot of value for people,
You
especially.
should just run with a mic.
I've been thinking that what we need to do is we need to get a GoPro and a mic, and then people can join us for runs, and they can hear what we're talking about and see all the beautiful nature.
Oh crap!
Yeah, you have to hold it
Sorry.
below. It's all right.
I just think the light's better.
So the title of this video is Marrying Differences, and this isn't planned out, laid out, so we're just going to be making it up as we go here. But where do you want to jump in, babe?
I don't know.
Okay, I'll just go for it
I
then.
think you need to set the scene
Okay.
before I know
Well,
if I have anything to say.
All right. So the scene this morning, if we share just personally, is when it comes to Saturday morning runs. I wake up in the morning. Shelly wakes up in the morning. Shelly's been running in the mornings on Saturdays for a long time, so it's just a normal part of life. Me, it's something we've done back and forth since we've been married, and I wake up in the morning, and one of the first things I like to do is get some mental stimulation. I'm not so much about getting a sensory experience as I am intuitive and getting my mind going. And so whenever I think of runs, I'm like, oh man, I don't know if I want to go on a run unless we're going to get into a good conversation, or unless there's going to be something like intellectually stimulating
About it.
about it. And so this morning, what we did was we started off with a podcast and a run. So my mind got going, and Shell was getting out and getting her sunshine in her run and her sensory experience.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, why do I have a hard time going on runs with you on Saturdays? I think it's just because I'm afraid that I'm going to get bored mentally, and that I'm just not going to have enough mental stimulation.
You're also not a huge fan of the cold or the transition into the cold.
Yeah, I don't like transitions either. Like, I tend to be where I am, and it tends to be hard for me to transition. So there's a lot of different layers that I think influence our relationship. But just again, realizing how awesome it is to be in the sensor world with you running, and in the intuitive world and the mind
Talking
world
about
with
something.
me talking about things. And
what were we talking about today?
well, just that, sensors versus intuitives. It's
And how-
personality language, but if we were to just give a quick description, sensors tend to live more in the five senses of what they can touch, what they can see, what they can taste, what they can feel.
So,
They go for it.
I, as a sensor, enjoy experiences.
Yeah.
And
You would rather learn through a sensory experience than
I would rather
concepts and
do
ideas.
something than read about something.
Yeah. Even going back to our coffee shop chats, I can remember when we were talking about life coaching, which I really love because I can get on a phone and do coaching through a phone and talk about ideas and concepts and learn and grow that way. Whereas your typical preference would be getting on a horse, and learning experientially with a physical, tangible.
Yeah, if we're
thing.
talking about like combining hobbies with it. But yes, mine would be like, let me learn something hands-on and face-to-face. I don't like talking on the phone. I don't like it. I much prefer to see somebody, and I don't like talking into a camera.
Yeah. Remember, you have to envision who you're talking to.
I have a hard time.
Envision somebody.
I have
in
a
your
hard
mind.
time talking into a camera and not just talking at you in the camera.
Sure. Well, we need to connect with our audience, so we need to look into that little camera holder.
Hi guys.
Yeah. So I guess, like, we can feel the difference in our relationship. It's a pretty real difference. I'd say
It's a very real difference.
I'm
It affects everyday life.
yeah. So if we do a work day together, and the work day is heavy on the intuitive side, and not on the sensor side, who's gonna run out of energy first? Shelly. And who's gonna be like, yeah, here we go. This is intuitive stuff.
We're
I'm
not
excited.
accomplishing anything.
Well,
Or we are accomplishing. We're accomplishing a lot.
we're accomplishing how different we are.
And I'm like, no, we're not.
and how to
The
navigate it.
kitchen needs cleaned.
Yeah, you would, when we're digging into intuitive stuff, you would get more of a kick sometimes, or it'd be more recharging and refreshing to you to just go get your hands on something and
for a
clean
little
it.
while.
Yeah.
Yep.
That kind of thing. So we're just saying that like the sensor intuitive difference is a very, very, very real thing. And
we're just recognizing that again this morning.
Yeah, and the way that it can impact relationships and cause people to misunderstand each other or feel like their energy's down depending on what they're engaging with. And so really, like, I think what really clicked with our hearts this morning, this whole idea of marrying differences, when I married you, I was marrying a person that's very, very different from me.
Yeah.
And on a lot of levels too. Right now we're talking on personality level. We're also seeing all the ways that we're different just on a strengths level too. And that's
love languages and
all these
hobbies and
Yep.
Yeah.
It's very,
and there are many things that we share too.
Sure. It's very complex. But I would even venture to say, hey puppy dogs. I would even venture to say, babe, though, that like even the things that we share, we come at from different motivations. If we'd be jumping into like Enneagram and different things like that, we'd come to the same table, but with a different reason.
For different reasons. Yeah.
Can you hold the camera again? Because my hands
That's just part of what life is. And I think I was thinking like on the run, before I was married, I always used to go to weddings and think like they'd have this box where you could put in advice for the bride and groom. And I was always like, I don't know, like have fun together or something, But I think one thing that I would definitely put in there now is don't be afraid to search out your differences and talk about them. And try and discover how the other person is different from you, how that is a strength for your relationship.
Yeah.
Because it really can be it can make you twice the person that you were before. If your husband or your wife or your partner has a different set of strengths or a different personality or
there's actually
whatever than you do.
I'm actually
it can either drive you apart or it can bring you closer together and make you more powerful than you could have been as a single person. So.
I'm actually kind of jealous of those couples that are complete opposites. We're pretty darn close. If we go by personality, I'm an E extrovert, you're an introvert, you're a sensor, I'm an intuitive. We're both on the feeler side. We're both feelers when it comes to decision making. And then approaching life, you'd be the J and I'd be the P. So we have combined, I thought this was really cool. I thought about getting a tattoo briefly. SNFFPJ. That is our married personality type. And so for those folks of you out there who are complete opposites, your married personality type actually encompasses all of the cognitive functions that Myers-Briggs were talking about whenever they developed
all the different aspects of personality.
Yeah. So you actually have a hard journey and a tough journey and a challenging journey, but you have then within your personality
interpersonal work and inner relationship work.
And a lot of need to recognize and affirm the other person's differences as a strength and as something that's valuable that they bring to the table, and a lot of work to sort out how to incorporate those differences into life, no doubt. But at the same time, I'm slightly jealous of you guys who are out there who are complete opposites, because you've got all the cards in your deck. And if you're somebody who's got all the same cards, that's not a bad thing either. It's just you have the ability to, from a place of common ground, go out exploring other aspects of personality. If we were both ENFPs, we could say, hey, we recognize we're both ENFPs. Let's go hang out with some folks who have a different personality type, or let's look into what all the other aspects of personality bring to life, and let's pursue some of those together from the common ground of our personality, you know? So it can become an adventure that way as well if you're exactly the same personality type.
Yeah. But regardless, I think I'm thinking about wrapping things up.
Okay,
'Cause
can I
I'm starting to
throw
get
one more
cold.
thing in? I'm
Yeah.
getting cold too.
Okay.
Just going back to what you said about, you know, you're talking about giving advice to people who were getting married or whatever and
Yeah.
not being sure what it'd be, and now saying that to not be afraid of seeing someone else's differences. I would say that too for anybody that is dating or married, because
Yeah.
even when we were dating, I think there was a part of me that was like a little bit scared to see how different we were.
Yeah.
Because then it's like, oh crap, if we're this different, like, can we
How's
make it
gonna
work? Like, if she really gets this much energy from something that doesn't give me any energy, how is that going to play out, you know, long term in our relationship? And so there was actually, I would say, some fear and a little bit of like,
From both of us.
I can't even cross my fingers, they're so cold. It was a little bit of like, yeah, we got this, you know. But I think people should give themselves the freedom to look fearlessly at what is in their lives. Now we sound like the Enneagram podcast, but to seriously look freely at the differences that you have and not be afraid of them and not be overwhelmed by them, but realize that just recognizing what is and being aware of what is the first step towards really intertwining and marrying, you know, the differences between the two of you to get a fuller, more beautiful approach to engaging life that's there for anybody who's willing, you know, to do that work. And we're still doing that in our relationship. And this morning was just one of those like magical moments. I was like, babe, like, this is awesome. We're out here running, my mind's rolling, it's stirring up new possibilities and cool things that, you know, we can learn from this. And it just was to the point where it's like, man, we gotta share this with the people. So that's my final thought.
Good stuff.
And
not necessarily always easy. But good.
Yeah, yesterday was rough. Yesterday was a rough day.
Days.
Yesterday was a very yesterday was very, very rough day. But we're laughing this morning. So anyway, love you guys. Hope this is helpful. We'll be talking more about this kind of stuff on YouTube here, so be sure to check back in.
Yep. Bye.
Bye-bye. How do we turn this baby off?
Are your fingers warm enough to?
I don't know if they are. I'm like, they can barely move. Hold on. Let me see.
I don't think mine are.
Ella, you want to say hi to the camera before we say goodbye?
Ella.
Oh, we can turn the camera around on here. Ella, say goodbye. Say goodbye.
She was chasing a crow that was having fun playing tag with
that
her
was a
earlier.
magpie, I think.
Babe,
I honestly don't know how to turn this thing off. This is embarrassing. Seriously, what do you do? Can you see any?
What's this down here?
That just
Stop.
What's this?
Just exit?
I guess. But I hope it doesn't. Hope it saves it.
I don't know.
We'll see.
We can film our walk back